Sure.
Okay.
All right, we have the October 11th meeting of the Conservation Commission. We'll stand and salute the flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the
Pledge
flag
allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Who do we have first? Mary Lou Boutwell, notice of intent 2044 Main Road, repair and maintain licensed seawall.
Come up, Jackie.
I'm not a Mary Lou, but I'm representing her. She's out of the country, Jack Wilkinson.
Jack, we made extra questions because we knew you were coming tonight.
I figured as much.
All right.
I'm ready.
Green cards are in the file, Mr. Chairman.
All right. You have a plan you want to put up?
It's up there, Mr. Chairman. This is basically.
I need a telescope.
I'm gonna hand it around to you.
It's a very small project.
See, he's got a sense of humor, Mr. Chairman.
For 8.5 by 11. I mean, I would know.
Well, I have forgot the full size. It's upstairs in the other file.
Don't
So
stress anybody out.
Mrs. Boutwell has been owning the property for a number of years, so she did do a septic repair that I verified that this work is accurate. So, if I could do the report,
Sure.
Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely.
Jack Wilkinson is here representing Mary Lou, as he stated. Mary Lou did get a file number. You can tell it to me because I just got it the other day.
SE 802656.
2656. This is a notice of intent filed by Mary Lou Boutwell, 2044 Main Road. The file number is SE 802656. The owner has filed to repair her existing licensed seawall. The seawall has stones that have fallen out into the below mean high water area. The repair will consist of removing the fill behind the wall and rebuilding the wall in sections given the tide and the amount of work needed to bring that back up above the tide. The back of the seawall will have erosion fabric placed and backfilled to grade. The erosion fabric helps to keep the soil intact during tidal events, and it stops it from falling out, as we see in this case. Work will not expand or change the wall as it exists. This is only a repair as was licensed. So there is approximately, I'd say 80 foot of wall, give or take, that will be rebuilt in stages.
Do you have to pull the dock out?
The docks are off to one side between the walls, so those will probably be pulled with the floats being removed.
So they gotta go for 91 after this?
This is all licensed. This is a
already
licensed structure, so all they're doing is a maintenance work on a licensed structure. So Westport Conservation should approve the file number SE 802656 for the wall repair at the 2044 Main Road residence.
Any questions? You gonna use the same stone, or just that, or are you gonna use new stone?
All the stone that's there is gonna be used, but we are gonna put new stone behind it.
All right. Anybody have any questions from the audience? No. All right. There's no questions. I'll look for a motion, please.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All right. That was Jake and Jason.
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
What wasn't there?
It's Tom.
All right. That's passed unanimous. All right.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
Thanks. See ya.
Sounded good. Okay, so next we have Mark Neves, notice of intent 21 Cook Lane, perform landscaping in the buffer zone.
Can I see the plan in the file, Mr. Chairman?
This is Mr. Neves.
Yes, we have the green cards in the file. Mr. Neves had sent them via email, and I just went upstairs and printed them to represent what has occurred. Mr. Neves is here. This is an enforcement action we took upon Mr. Neves for doing work in the backyard. Mr. Neves purchased the property. The plans that he had on record did not represent the wetland accurately at that time. So we initiated work without realizing the wetland was closer. Once we were able to get together with him, he agreed that there is an area of concern In this case, he put a terminus wall that you saw in the photos that act as a barrier for any remaining work. So he is here before you this evening for basically the wall construction in the buffer zone and landscaping and seeding of that disturbed area. I believe that's all I have to say. Recommendations, Westport Conservation Commission should approve the proposed stone wall, grading, and landscape planting in the buffer zone. So lastly, Mr. Neves will be planting the area with trees in a sense to create a pathway along the edges, as he would like to walk the area as like a nature trail once everything's vegetated.
So it's planting, are they behind the wall or in front of the wall?
Everything's in front of the wall. The wall will be the terminus of all activity.
How far is that from,
He's about 20 feet from the back of the wall to the wetlands, Mr. Chairman.
guys have any questions? Anybody in the audience have a question?
Where is the wall in relation to the property line in the back?
You just step up and just say your name. We have to, for people at home. We have good ratings.
Carol Knapp.
You'll be famous.
Nice to meet you. I was just wondering where the rock wall was in relation to your back property line.
So when wildlife conservation was out there, there was about a 5-foot buffer from where the wall is to his stakes. From
For the land trust.
I believe it's.
Yes, the land trust, yeah. He encroached on the land trust property with some of his cutting, and that's where they got a survey done and established the boundary limits, and that's where Mr. Neves worked upgrading of that location.
And he's far enough away from the wetlands?
Yes,
as far as the
well, now that we have the
trust
wall in
is
place, yes,
To block that.
it protects the area.
And there was no cutting into the, to that area, Chris, it was a track mark from one of the machines that turned.
Okay. Thank you.
Alright, Phil?
I was just trying to figure, so the wall was installed after the enforcement order was issued, or was it there?
It's kind of during the whole
Okay,
process.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So if I may, the wall was in progress, there was an existing wall there, it was in progress
I see.
when wildlife met us out there, and he confirmed, I forget the gentleman's name, but.
Ross.
Yes, he confirmed, he goes, if you continue here, you're fine, you're 5 feet away from my stake, just stay at the same line.
Okay,
So that's what we did.
okay.
Yeah. And then when we got the enforcement notice on that specific wall, we stopped.
Okay.
So the wall's 5 feet from the property line and 25 from the wetlands, right, Chris?
Roughly, yes.
Roughly, alright. Anybody else have any questions?
So I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Alright, that's unanimous, and that was, Jason and Phil. You're all set, Mr.
Okay,
Knapp.
thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Neves. I'll contact you when you can pick up that document, okay, for your records.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
Arrowson Grisato, notice of intent, 25 Ivy Meadows Lane, after the fact, filing to construct a deck in the coastal resource area and control of invasive vegetation. Good.
Same report that I emailed you.
Thank you.
If you want to start your presentation, please
Sure.
do.
My name is Rami Sidani. I work for North County Group. We're an engineering firm in Taunton. We have a client that owns 25 Ivy Meadow Lane, a single-family house. He built a deck within the 25-foot buffer zone. He did not know that he would need a permit to build a deck. The deck, as you can see from the picture, is built built it on the boulders, rocks and boulders, they didn't dig in for any footings. And then, they ripped up some of the vegetation around the top of the bank, and they put down the sand, for up to be at the beach. And then, Conservation Commission came aware that was work being done, and they sent him a notice to stop work order. That's what we were told in. So we delineated the top of the tank, located where the deck was. And, the drainage easement is also on the property for his subdivision. And, the vegetation is overgrown, he's planning to control the vegetation, and clean up the drainage basin. This last time I was there, I could see the vegetation is already growing, and not the vegetation in the area.
Do you wanna read the purpose?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, members, Arlison Rosado, 25 Ivy Meadows Lane. This is an after-the-fact notice of intent. This is again another enforcement action. Engineers North County Group Incorporated, file number is SE 802655. Site visit was on October 4, 2022. The owner has applied after the fact for work on the property that exists on Duval Pond. The owner was cited for constructing a deck near the pond and placing sand as a beach. The owner is aware of what is allowed. We had a discussion with his representation there, and has filed as requested. The deck will remain and the area will be allowed to reestablish native vegetation along the waterfront. I do agree with the that the area has reestablished, or it has come in much more than what was being deterred from growing. The plan has been prepared to show those resource areas in the existing site conditions. There is no further work proposed. As far as doing work within the stormwater basin, I can't really consider them the right to do that. That's controlled by the town.
It's a town, I see.
So I would not, I would encourage them to maybe, they can trim a few things, but I do agree with you, there's some obnoxious trees in there that really is, so I would tell her or them to contact the highway department and mention.
Before they do.
Yes, okay? So that's where I say no more further work, Mr. Chairman, because the drainage easement is under the control of the subdivision, and that is a town road, so, I don't think the highway department would discourage them from doing any work, but. The Westport Conservation should approve the deck area constructed and require the waterfront to establish native vegetation with no further clearing or cutting permitted on the waterfront, I would say. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Alright, were any trees or bushes cut down when they were doing that clearing?
No, it was more than shrubbery and, some native bulrushes and stuff that grow in the pond. So a lot of that, he was trying to make an area for to access the water, so he put the sand and kind of started grubbing the pond vegetation out. So with the couple of years that he hasn't done anything, the stuff is coming back pretty quickly.
Is there any demarcation, something fence or something needed to, no?
No, I asked them to return the boulders that were along the terminus, which they did. It was a stack of boulders. There's a dock here, which you can see right here. They have a small dock that goes out. So they put the boulders back along this edge in front of this resource area to establish that there is nothing to be done in that particular location, mowing or anything, so.
And it's good vegetation, not
It's-
invasives that
It's
are-
native, yes, it's
Okay,
native,
Good.
arrowweed and other native vegetation. It's not Phragmites.
Good, okay.
Is the buffer zone now where the deck was built, is that already like manicured lawn, or?
It was, yes, portion of, the front section maybe was a little more manipulated, but no, the other area was kind of maintained. They own around that stormwater facility, so that they have a pathway that actually comes down along here, and this opens into a big green area right in here, so the pond actually sits somewhere just about in here like this.
Alright, anybody else have any questions? motion?
Did
That's fine.
the building
Fine.
department look at the deck? I mean, is it,
It's
Is it-
not of the size, that's what happens, a lot of people call the building department, they say it's under 200 square feet,
oh, they just
you're good to go.
got it.
So that's kind of where they got misguided, so.
Alright, a motion from somebody if possible?
Move to approve the deck area and require the waterfront to establish native vegetation with no further clearing or cutting permitted.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Alright, that's unanimous, so. You're all set, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, John Hand, notice of intent. 210, 230 East Beach Road, Beach Nourishment. How are you, sir?
Hey.
Good. Is it Han or Han? Han, okay.
Very good, Mr. Chairman. We knew you were studying.
Please sign.
Hey, good evening, thank you very much for the time to show you these things. After last meeting, I hired South Coast Engineering, and we did this whole beach nourishment plan according to the Chris's recommendation and the DEP requirement. Most things, Chris recommended we should use these coral logs, so when you put the coral logs here, and this was the spec we put them in. So it's there where we put the beach roots and beach grass vegetation stuff. So do it every year. And so this one will be protected like a beach when the storm or the winds get the sand and wash that we can beach erosion. So according to Chris, I did a research too. The Quincy area beach, they use the same method, like protect the beach better than put big rocks over there. Especially this area is conservation area. I hope I will do this year by year, put the vegetarian stuff. I hope few years all of that natural species, like wild animals will come back. There will be eggs over there. So that's what we're doing. And the last time I said, Chris said is what I did the plans and 200 cubic yard is too much. And then we did this plan. I think this is all that is, we will come, these are new ones. So this now we do it is only 100 cubic yard. So we will make this like a beach nourishment, make this like a slope, like a gentle, smooth. So there was elevation going here. So that's what we just do what the last time they recommended for items.
Okay. Thank you. Chris, you wanna read the report?
Mr. Chairman, this is a continuance. Mr. Hahn was here a couple of weeks ago. He needed to hire a professional engineer to design a more detailed plan showing the resource areas per the DEP. At this time, he hired South Coast Engineering. The plan you see before you is that revised plan. He has submitted this to Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program, and he's pending a file number at this time. Description of the work. The owner has obtained an engineer and drawn an accurate detailed plan for the proposed beach nourishment project. The site is on East Beach Road toward the Gooseberry side. The owner has lost significant land over the past 5 years. He is proposing to install a core log system that will be staked into the beach face with wooden stakes. The core logs will be a 12-inch size, not 12-foot size, and wrapped in burlap type material. The core logs are made from a natural organic fiber and they are free of any synthetic netting. They are used in coastal restoration protection projects and act as a barrier to slow erosion. The buildup of sand around the core logs helps to protect the coastal beach in the long run. This area is land subject to flooding, coastal beach, and natural heritage and endangered species program. Recommendations: Westport Conservation Commission should consider the approval of the core log system with conditions pending receipt of file number and Natural Heritage's final approval. The core log shall be staked in place of wooden stakes as designed, and compatible beach material must be used. Now these core logs have 2 wooden stakes with a little burlap rope between them. That's what kind of holds them down. You can see in the detailed drawing. So these things may come in sections and then you attach them together and anchor them to the beach face. this is not a permanent, but this will help him to protect the beach face and try to replenish and grow that beach in order to, weather storms that may come in the future. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Do you have any questions?
Has anyone else tried one of these east of, Gooseberry?
They're more likely to work on this side than the other side. So as you get towards Horseneck side, the velocity is usually too intense, and they tend to be eroded rather quickly. We've had these used in the town on a few occasions. Some lasted less than a week. Others have lasted and got buried, and slowly you can't see them over time. In this case, I mean, these will work. And I think that's where Mr. Hahn has to understand the dynamics of the beach. It may only be a temporary fix, or it could accumulate sand. For some reason, we're seeing a lot of accumulation of sand on this side lately, as well as heading towards the Bakers and all in that section. There's been a dramatic increase of sand. So this area is slowly rebuilding itself, but in honesty, these are only a temporary measure. These are not they're considered a soft scape measure, not a hard scape measure, so.
So this is west of Gooseberry, you said?
East.
Gooseberry East, yes,
East, okay.
exactly. You come down John Reed Road, you take a right, Mr. Hahn is the one, like, the second house on the left. There's a little piece of state land, and then he has the place he bought right there. I believe he bought it from Cunningham,
Yeah.
correct, yeah,
It's just two sides of step.
correct, yep.
All right, do you have any other questions? A motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
That was, Jacob Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Hahn, we will be delivering you, we have to get to the state and get that file number from you, so I'll try to send and find out what's going on with that, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. So you're done with us, and I'll follow up with you, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Have a good night, Lord.
Thank
you. Thank you.
Certificate of compliance for Gabby Rami. Oh, is it Rami?
Rami, yeah, that's how I say it.
Lot 1, Gifford Road, SE 802552.
Mr. Chairman, Gabby Rami, Lot 1, Gifford Road, the certificate of compliance for file number SE 802552. Report date is October 4th, 2022. The site visit was also on October 4th. Description of the work: the owner has completed the construction of a single-family home on Lot 1, Gifford Road, and on an A&R lot. The buffer zone area is seeded and growing with 75+ vegetative growth. The site is stabilized and the conditions of the order have been met. Recommendations: Westport Conservation Commission should grant the full certificate of compliance as all work has been completed according to the plan of record for file number SE 802552.
Any questions? If no questions, on the motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? That was Jake and, Phil. Okay, we have, Dean Lenning, East Beach Association, SE 801971, various locations.
This is an extension request, Mr. Chairman, for a group of lots. I am willing to allow them to get one 3-year extension out of this, but I will say that that will be the last. The reason being is these lot owners have changed ownership, so different people are representing these times. This has been going on since probably 2012, this extension and order of conditions. So the reason I say that is we're running into some changing in ownership on the beach seems to allow people to think they can do a lot of different things. So we're having people that have been on that beach for 20 years sell their place that they were fine with what they had, and now people coming down there and they're building decks. It's some way as unregulated, because I don't know whose lot is what, because at one point I didn't even realize we had this group of filings. So and some people that are within this group may not even know they have a permit, so that's why I'd like them to go back to individually. But for this purposes and for this next 3 years, I'm okay with allowing them the extension. I don't want to spring it on them right away, but I will inform Mr. Lenling that he needs to separate his filing from all those others. So again, this is a request of a group of lot owners that Dean Lenling has represented. This is a 3-year extension for beach maintenance on the group of lots. That would be lots 57, 59, 63, 69, and lots 70 through 80. A lot of these lots encompass the beach face areas too, which are more demanding of resource areas than the let side, I guess you could say. So the owners, some of the owners have changed on this permit, so that is my major concern. So recommendations, Westport Conservation Commission to approve this last 3-year extension for file number SE 801971 for the group of lots, and request that the individual lot permits be approved in future for these beach nourishment that may be done.
I think this was done back when Andrea Coach was around.
Yeah, this is dates, at least 2012, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Just a question, how, is this Dean a junior or senior? Is it the dad, Chris? Is it
Dean?
senior?
Yes.
So if he's the applicant, but he doesn't own these other lots, what would happen if someone, if in a butter contested this extension? Because we're not really issuing the extension to the person who owns the lot.
Right, that's what, in one way, we were trying to be cooperative to East Beach at the time because people were not filing. So I think this was an effort to get people in the door to, so yes, you're correct. But I think he had at the time, had everyone's signature, he had everyone's lot plan submitted, so he had the people's permission. But you are correct, if someone was to appeal this, or all of them would be in that jeopardy.
Like Dean would be okay because his name is on the application, but
I see what you're saying.
like if I owned 59, 63s, I'd want to have my own
Yeah, I totally
permit,
agree.
right?
And
Because someone could contest that and possibly win. And
that's where my confusion comes
Yeah,
in. Because when I pull the file and I see John Albanez, I look, I'm John Albanez, I don't have a file for John Albanez. But come to find out, he owns one of these lots here. I don't even think he knows he has this permit,
No,
so you are correct.
I think he came in here, he bought it a couple of years ago, I think. But this was done back when it was either Ed Rooney or Mike Sullivan was the chairman, and we wanted to get people to do things in compliance instead of just dropping off loads of fill, which is what was happening. So we issued this one permit for all these adjoining lots. That's up to you guys if you want to remove it out.
I would say you're correct, Mr. Chairman.
So he just pays one fee?
At the time, he did not. He paid per lot, but for the
Okay.
the extension applies. One flat rate is an extension fee, yes. So
Okay, yeah,
are we getting shortchanged? Well, no, I guess to a point.
yeah.
But
yeah, maybe just explain to him and them just
I'll let
the
Dean
risk they're
know.
taking. I just don't want to see. I don't mind approving it. I just don't want to see
Because that's what I'm
someone
saying.
get smoked on this. You know.
Truly, Jason, I don't know who the other names are.
Yeah.
Because there is no, so I would have to, and I'm telling you that they've changed because a lot of those lots there have just recently sold. So there are definitely, but they had done everything correctly at the time, so. And the selectman is currently still in court with the East Beach Association people trying to resolve. They're very being adamant on what they can keep and what they can't keep, so, Jim and I have been trying to be, stern and letting them know, because a lot of people are adding things and now trying to call them permanent when there was no record of these things being placed, so. I think this is a good way to control East Beach and try to work with the people as best we can. So I suggest this be the last extension for this group of lots, and I will personally notify them that this will be needed to file individual notice of intents in the future.
All right. So I'll make a motion to issue the 3-year extension.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Enforcement the signature page.
Yeah, we got one of them going, bro. You wanna do it
Well,
now, or you wanna
well,
do your
let's see.
minutes?
Let's
See if you
see.
can do some minutes.
Present. Oh, this one's out.
I'm gonna have an issue with the
Present. This one's out. Wait a minute. No, we're all here for this one.
Beautiful.
So 8:30 we can vote on, because everybody was here but Jake. And since we don't need Jake,
Yeah, you got four,
he's
you
the
good.
fifth wheel, we can vote on it. So we have the 8:30 minutes, if any, they were sent out to everybody, I'm assuming there were no changes. So I just need a motion to approve the August 30th minutes.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Alright, any abstentions?
Me.
Okay.
I think it's the last time Jake showered.
Yeah, I shaved this week.
The summer solstice.
We're in a drought, Jason.
Some souls.
Alright, so let's see, 8:02, who's absent? Jason, wait a minute, yeah, Jason, Tom, and Kevin were absent, so we can't vote on that one.
We'll never get that.
Absent was just Philip, Kevin, and Brett. We can vote on this one. Phil, you were actually out from a meeting back in June.
Yeah, I remember it well.
It was a great day, great night.
Alright, so we have the June 7th minutes to approve. And present were Tom, myself, Jake, and Jason. So we're looking for a motion to approve the June 7th, 2022 minutes.
Motion approved.
Second from Tom. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous now. Alright, we have, that takes care of the minutes. No bills, no nothing like that, no miles, bills, nothing, so?
We took care of that the chair took care of it last meeting.
What's that?
All the rest of them you can't do,
Yeah, we did 2 or 3 of them.
okay.
We're getting better, we're getting there. If Jason would show up for meetings, we'd be all set. Alright. Enforcement officer, Chris, tell us about it.
Talk to you. Mr. Chairman, this has been ongoing for a while, but this is just documentation of what the state did in February and what they haven't done since, but this is approximate, the wetland that's been, you can see what they've done. This is Manny and Carolyn Ferry, 136 Old Pine Hill Road. This is the second violation that I could say has occurred on the property. That unilateral agreement with the state was sent to them to seek a notice of non-compliance, and there's no follow-up for that. So I think it's time that they get the idea that they are in violation. This was supposed to be a solar project, Mr. Chairman. That order of conditions has expired, and they have stated that there is no solar entity anymore going in there, but in the meantime, they have cleared the acreage for the use of the farm. The owners, for the second time, have cleared into more of the previously delineated DVW on their property. The site has a Mass DEP superseding order that has expired. The first violation, DEP came and did a site review with the attorney present for the ferries. Flags were to be located and determine the extent of the clearing into the resource area. They did locate the flagging. Sean Leach from Northeast Consultants and Engineers did it. At the time, they were 50 feet into the BVW in some areas. Brightman Lumber came back in August, not September, and they cleared further into the resource area and kind of squared off what they had done in that prior January from the state's letter. Including they cleared right to the vernal pool area that's considered a protective radius of 100 feet, which is closer to White Oak Run. So I think that it's time that the ferries, they're in there stumping, they're in there doing work like they don't need to abide by the Wetlands Protection Act. And again, under the regulations, a farm is not exempt from an area that was never farmed. They have to file just like anybody else would have to. So there is no exemption here, and that's where they're having a trouble understanding. And I think they're getting guidance that's not being very helpful for them. But in the long run, I'd like to issue an enforcement order tonight with a copy sent to Dan Gilmore, the Wetlands Section Chief. I will include a brief letter in that this is the second offense. CC him with a copy of this letter of that unilateral agreement and express that nothing has been done. And they further have violated the regulations by altering more wetland area. And they are slowly nipping at it, they're pulling stumps and slowly working at the land that you can't see from the street. So I think it's important that we issue this and get this on record. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we have a motion to approve, or any discussion about this? If not, a motion?
And you said that there is no solar on this, Chris?
The solar fell, they're no longer moving forward with the solar, so that is.
But they seem to be
proven.
clearing the area that,
They are clearing the area that was delineated for, well, they cleared beyond what was, but yes, that is the
okay.
general location.
Cause that White Oak Run was gonna be an entrance point or something? over
No, it
there?
was not.
Oh,
They
they
weren't
weren't.
even supposed to go out by that way.
Okay.
But this is one where there was all kinds of flooding on White Oak Run.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's an area that floods, yeah, we're still very dry right now, so there wasn't much water in it, but,
What's Carney trucking in there? They're bringing in some type of,
is that where you're seeing Carney go?
I think so.
Alright, that's even more of a concern. I have seen Carney coming into the town, and I know what Carney does, he's a reclamation guy, and I am being told that they're dumping sewage sludge in there. And I can't prove it, but I'm gonna be honest, I saw Carney twice in the past week, and I know people have told me that he's dumping things up there that aren't supposed to be dumped up there, so that is something I will add to the, to concerns,
Yep.
but thank you for that, Jason, 'cause
Yeah.
I thought Carney was going, I thought he was going to, Kingfisher off of Woodcock Run over there dumping stumps.
I can't say with 100% certainty, but I think, and I'm downstream from that, so I'm kinda
Okay,
curious.
but that is the story, that they were dumping a sewage sludge product that is not supposed to be going anywhere but a landfill. So that could be potentially where that company is potentially delivering that material, so that is another concern, so thank you.
All right, do we have a motion?
So move to approve issuing the enforcement follow-up letter.
Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
All right, all in favor, opposed? Chris, I think you ought to let somebody know, just double check on the whole potential sludge issue while you're at it.
I am gonna look into that, I should have followed the truck the other day, but I just made the assumption, cause I've worked with that company for many years when I was in the environmental business, and I know they do a lot of reclamation work, and
They're banned from a lot of towns. A lot of towns won't allow them to transport.
it may be the case, cause they do have a dirty dirt business, you know?
All right, anything else, Chris?
No, Mr. Chairman, that is all I have. Oh, we do have a scheduled site visit with DEP for the Brian Corey matter on October 25th. I believe it's at 10 o'clock. They finally have come to establish the resource areas on the site for Brian Corey's perspective.
At 10, right, is that what you said?
I think it's at 10 o'clock. I'll
Okay.
double check, but I know it's
Okay.
the 25th.
Yeah, okay.
And that site visit is scheduled to review the extent of his superseding potential order of conditions for his well project over there. This is not in response to our letter we sent to the state, but that discussion I'm sure will be brought up at the time of that meeting, and questioned on where they proceed with that matter, and Mr. Corey can defend himself at that time, but if anybody would like to attend, it will take place across the street.
All right, anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second? All those in favor, opposed? All right.
Who wants